Morning, guys. We had a great session this morning, and I thought that it would be good for me just to unpack the drama triangle in a little bit more detail so that you understand the motivation behind the drama triangle and why it is that we, in fact, take up these roles, the three different roles that we spoke about. So I'm going to go into a little bit more depth, give you a bit more understanding, and then we'll bring in the saboteurs and where their placements are. Because ultimately what I'd like you to be looking at are your patterns, your way of thinking, the lies that are coming through, and then of course the behavior that prevails. So those are key areas here. So when we look at the drama triangle, we are looking at the three roles that we play. The first one is that of a rescuer. The second is that of a victim. And the third is that of a persecutor. Now, I think it's really important that we understand why it is that we, in fact, even play these games. So the first thing is that we are not aware that we're doing this. This is usually learned behavior. We've learned it from somewhere, and it's the way that we control and manipulate our environments to support our needs. Now, these needs are usually coming from an unworthy place. So our judge and our saboteurs are very, very involved here. Typically, like we covered this morning, where there was a lot of not good enough, not strong enough, not beautiful enough, not intelligent enough, whatever enough. Generally, the judge is sort of breaking us down, or others, or these circumstances in our lives that are pulling us into negative ways of being. And this is where we typically move into either avoid, assert, or earn our worthiness. And it propels a lot of patterns within us. So if you look at the rescuer is looking for acceptance. The victim is looking for love, and the persecutor is looking for power. Okay, that's really important. Now that Dusty has moved away, I can move in a little bit more. There are mottos with each one of these. So the rescuer wants the world to know that they are good. So I'm good. The victim is I'm blameless. So you're already seeing that the victim likes to look outside of himself to see and blame others. And the persecutor is I'm right. Okay, so those are the mottos that are coming through and the reasons why it is that we get into this game playing. And of course, this game has a name, and it's called codependency. So typically, each one of these roles that we take up are saying to us that I need somebody else or something else to feel better about myself. And that is typically where the earning, asserting, and the avoiding comes in. So each one of these roles has got different ways of leaning in. So the characteristics of a rescuer, for argument's sake, remember they're looking for acceptance. So they are typically going to rescue. Now they have a genuine love and concern for others. The problem is that they generally dive in and take over. Or do things for others. So they're not really maturing or growing that skill set themselves. They are big problem solvers. We do that, we eat that for breakfast. So it's very easy to step in and when somebody's feeling sad or bad or mad or not coping, we just jump in, take over and sort the situation out. And typically what happens there is it makes you feel like the hero of the day. And that, of course, is speaking into the codependency. So if I was helping somebody out, I would feel good about myself, and there is already my acceptance that I am needing to earn. Okay. Then you look at the victim, and the victim, remember, is looking for love. And the first thing you want to pick up with a victim is seeing that they take no responsibility. Remember, we've said that they look outwardly, they look at others as the reason for their problems, and hence them not taking any accountability, which means that nothing changes. And you pick this up particularly in the language. So a victim has what we call pathetic language. Now, that is not a very nice word. None of us want to be associated with that. But pathetic language really means woe's me. It's negative, it's downtrodden, it's I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, very much looking outside, as I said, blaming others. Then you've got the angry victim. Now, the angry victim can very often be misconstrued as a persecutor because of the type of language. It's not seen as the pathetic victim looks. So this is quite a powerful character. The angry victim will say, that's it, I'm done, I've drawn the line, nobody's going to step over that again, you won't do that to me again, I'm out of here, whatever. And the angry victim is very often misconstrued with a persecutor because of the toughness. But the way you know the difference is that they'll be singing the same song tomorrow, in 2 years' time, and probably 10 years' time, if they do not step out of their victim role and take responsibility for whatever is happening. Remember, even if somebody else is doing something to cause you unhappiness, you still need to take responsibility and accountability for that. You can never blame somebody else for how it is that you're feeling. So you need to rise to the occasion and take that under control. So then you've got the persecutor, and the persecutor is quite an easy one to look at. The persecutor wants to be right, and they're quite a powerful character, and that is typically where they step into assertion. So very controlling, judging, critical, whereas even this person is judging and criticizing, but doing it on an internal in an internal way. And when they do speak, you can hear the blaming. This one is judging, but probably also maybe in more of a condescending way, and I'm just sharing mine because I know us land up here, and my judge can be a little bit condescending, where I step in and try and be the hero, almost surmising that person can't do it for themselves. So you can hear that there's a lot of different thinking that comes through here, and obviously your own story will come alive. So very important, we've got the earn, the assert, and we've got the avoid down here. Okay, so what I do want to bring in are emotions, which I didn't get to talk about this morning. So shame is a big one. Now, you might say, oh, just like that pathetic word down there, shame is just as much a word that we don't really want to be associated with. But the truth is that we all have shame, and you've heard it. We're not beautiful enough, not good enough, not strong enough, not intelligent enough, not whatever enough. It's always the not enough emotion. And it's a big ass emotion that has the ability to really shut us down. So we'll get more into, the perfectionist and what have you, because remember, if you've got perfection, know that your shame is always driving it. That's just a little gold nugget that I'm going to throw in. So the rescuer is looking for acceptance and needing to earn their keep to feel better about themselves. And that is why the shame emotions are here. So the minute you don't feel good enough, you're going to be propelled to move into some sort of pattern to make yourself feel better. So that's a big key there. Down here, there are a lot of feelings of mad, bad, sad, just sort of like angry stuff, the type of things we were talking about here. There can be a lot of almost depression type tendencies, a lot of overwhelm, anxiety. And because the victim feels unworthy, sometimes seemingly more unworthy than the other places or other roles in this drama triangle, they can sometimes invite people to treat them badly. And of course, the minute we, get to know ourselves better and we choose to step into a place where we say, here to and no further, actually, I am worthy of love and belonging, and that is no longer okay. That's where you take up responsibility. Because what you're hearing is the boundaries starting to come through, which we will talk a little bit more now, because the only time that you can set boundaries is when you're actually being honest and true to yourself and you're outside of the drama triangle. This is, in fact, what keeps you outside of the drama triangle, is feeling, knowing what you're feeling and being able to express and assert that. All right, so, and over here, we've got feelings of guilt. Now, we spoke briefly about that this morning. Guilt is actually a very healthy emotion, as are all of these other emotions, because they are giving us a lot to work with. So remember, there's no good or no bad emotion. They're all neutral, and they're all giving us data. They're all giving us information, which is really, really useful, because behind and below every single emotion is a need being met or a need not being met. And that really helps us in our relationships as we move forward. So guilt in this case, healthy guilt, it would be, oh, I'm so sorry, I treated you badly. I'll circle back, apologize, and then I'll move on. And that's probably because I'm outside of the drama triangle. But if I'm caught in the drama triangle and I'm feeling guilt, I'm probably in a place where there's a lot of unwarranted guilt there, where I am bending over backwards or feeling guilty about burdening you or taking up so much time, and not really putting my own needs. That's where unwarranted guilt comes into the play. So we seldom, especially in this rescuer role or this victim role, put our needs up front in terms of taking care of ourselves. So most people at this point say to me, okay, Sharon, I see myself in the drama triangle, but how do I get out? This is the exit point. Now, that does not mean that you need to become the persecutor. It just means that you need to be comfortable with the discomfort of whatever it is that you're feeling. So if you are feeling guilt and you can't be okay with the discomfort of feeling the guilt of, oh my gosh, who's going to take care of them if I don't? You're just going to go straight back and you're going to rescue all over again. And so the dance continues. So the minute you can get out of here, you'll be in a position where you'd be able to set some good, strong, healthy boundaries, and then your relationships will start to become healthy. So you're noticing a couple of patterns here. You're noticing there's a bit of a dance. You probably are thinking as I'm going through this, oh wow, Sharon, I thought I was earning or needing to earn, looking for acceptance, but actually I see a little bit of this and I see a little bit of the persecutor as well. The truth is that when we're in the drama triangle, we actually take up all three roles, but we spend less time at the ones that are not necessarily dominant for us. So in my family, where I grew up, my dad was the persecutor, my mom was the rescuer, and by default, us kids were in a victim role. But when I left my family home and moved into my own family system, guess what roles I took up? Persecutor and rescuer, because that was what was taught to me. So there's a lot of learned behavior that comes through here as well. So this would be my dance over here. However, I would try and rescue someone, then get all uptight and irritated because now they're taking more than what I actually wanted to give. And then I'll come down here and have like a little bit of a moan session. And then I will shoot all the way back up and then go into a place where I feel a lot more comfortable and start pointing fingers and, using the power play, the asserting and the power over constructs. So you notice how the dance goes. Now, for any of you that have kids, remember, much like I'm describing to you now, kids are picking up and learning behavior from you. So much like I picked up and learned behavior from my parents, your kids are learning from you. What is it that you're teaching them? You want to get them really comfortable with emotion, with the discomfort that brings, and let them know that they are wired for struggle, that they can find their way. They do not have to become codependent and dependent on others to feel better about themselves. The key is to settle all of that within yourself. And of course, as we talk about the judge and the saboteurs are working against that, because for so long we've been listening to the voices in our head of the judge and believing it, actually speaking with it. So we now need to be able to pause and say, hold on, actually, I don't agree with that. That's actually not the truth. And then disputing that so that you can move through it. All right. So I think that's probably enough for you to work with. I want to just remind you that the saboteurs that are showing up here is the pleaser, the stickler, and the hypervigilant. Okay, and it'll be very interesting where you start to look at your saboteurs and start to see the pattern of thinking. So a pattern of thinking with a pleaser. My pattern of thinking was, and it was a lie that I believed, was that everybody needed to like and love me. Well, you know, I'm really quite straightforward around that. I know that I don't like and love everybody, so why on earth would everybody else need to do that for me? So that really helped me a lot to step out of the pleaser role. I still treat everybody with love and respect, but I don't need to bend over backwards to try and get everybody to like me, because the problem with that is then we become almost like social chameleons. And, you know, I'm born a red smarty, but now I've got some pink friends, which means I need to be a pink friend. And then I go to my green friend's house and then I become a green friend. And eventually I don't know what color I was to start with. So if you're a red smarty, stay a red smarty. Wherever you go, be that, because people will learn to trust you in your consistency. And it's standing on your own beliefs and your values and knowing who it is that you are, that you show up consistently. Down here, we're looking at the avoider. Okay, the avoider saboteur, the victim saboteur, and then also the hyper-rational saboteur. Okay, and then up here we have the controller. We have the restless and the hyperachiever. And I think that should be enough for you this week to be able to be aware of your patterns of thinking, patterns of emotion, and patterns of behavior. So there we go. I hope that was useful. If you've got any questions, let me know. See.